serious, man. You cannot be serious!
It's a bad start, Don.
Why?
Because I pressed the music, Maxine Nightingale singing you.
Yeah, that shit song.
It's a great song, Don. It's
Who
anonymous.
actually? Did
I
you
did, and I didn't. Then I didn't press record, so it will have only come in just a little way into the song. That's because you got.
Would you
me
like
flustered.
to start the program again?
No, well, I could have started again.
Well,
but
that's just like last week, ending off last week, wasn't it? We're
Ivan,
just
there's-
all
that's
over the
Ivan.
place.
Oh, it's Ivan.
now I tell you what Ivan's done.
Oh.
We have become an attraction. You have become an attraction. People are now starting to come into the podcast to see if you are as well.
Dumb?
Well,
No.
they say
Dumb.
as eccentric, and I say as fucked.
Listen,
They
what
come in to see if
don't
you're
talk
as-
about eccentricity when you look at you. Have a look at you.
Now, hang on. This is not a visual medium, Don.
Well,
It's
why
a-
haven't we? Should be
Oh,
up to
well,
date.
we haven't.
Well, you got to get up to date. People are now
So
having
people are
cameras
now-
in their podcasts.
People are now asking, can they come into the podcast to sit and have a look at you? To
What
see
about
if you
tickets?
are
Do you
as
think we could sell tickets?
absolutely fucking what?
Tickets? Could we sell tickets?
You could. So the reason me mentioning Ivan's brought a guest in.
Oh.
Ivan's only been with us. Here comes Phoebe. She's
I'll
coming
be
to
back. Ben
Move
Fordham.
your saddlebags,
No, hang on.
yes.
Ben Fordham's on today, is he?
No, Ben's over on furlough.
Well, what's she doing in there?
Move your saddlebag off that. Hang on. Come on, Phoebe. Come in, doll.
She's washed her hair.
So
we haven't
Ben-
seen
maybe
her
Ben
for
is on.
weeks. Where have you been?
So you're going to have to share the microphone.
Yep.
So, Don, I'm
Yes.
just saying to
She's
you.
got her riding boots on.
I'm just saying to you, Ivan's only sort of been with us temporarily, and he has brought someone. You've never brought anyone in 4 years.
I haven't got
You've
any
never,
friends.
You've never
for
brought
the horses.
anyone into the podcast.
Never.
You've never lined a guest up.
No.
How are you, Phoebe? Phoebe, speak. I'm about to get on to. I was just about to
Sam.
get on to. This is Peter. Peter
Hi,
Wright.
Peter. Hi.
Peter Wright, can I tell you, this man sitting in front of you, he is a world-class squash champion, aren't you, Peter?
Yes,
Maybe come
yeah,
up.
that's right,
Was.
Sam. Was. Bit
Oh,
old
was.
now.
Was now, he's 80. I
Well,
mean,
he
give us-
was.
Well, of course he was. So
He's
you
an ex.
was, and we was. We're all
No,
was.
Fiona's still relevant.
And
No, you are relevant. You're bigger than Phoebe.
Nice hat, by the way.
And you look terrific in black today.
Phoebe.
That's a change.
I'm going to dinner.
Phoebe,
Oh, in black.
Yeah.
lunch.
Lunch, yes, lunch.
Phoebe.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here because I'm just before I speak to Peter. I've had two of the most interesting nights. I went to the Hall of Fame last night. Could you make that any more boring? It was extraordinary. And hang on. And I went to a function out at the Venuto Club. And
I heard you did very,
hang
very
on.
well.
And
He was off his
can't I
head.
say you were there?
No, of course you can.
Oh,
You were...
hang
Yeah, no,
on.
I was there. I went with Sam.
Now, Rex was off his tree.
No,
No,
don't say that,
don't say
Don.
that.
Well, he was.
Don.
He's been ringing me.
Don,
that's all right. No, if he's been
Rex has
ringing
got
you that-
some. Rex has got some mental health issues. We all know that.
Has he?
So is that a nicer way to put it?
Anyhow, Rex rang Phoebe and said, could you come out to the Venuto Club? And so we go out there. Anyhow, we'll get on to that in a minute. I'm just telling you who Peter
Well,
Wright is.
tell me more.
Hang on, Don. Hang on. Peter
you?
Wright is a world-class squash
We
champion.
know that.
I was getting on to telling you what he does now. You might be interested.
He played squash where we used to play squash at Vital in Little Burke Street.
I know. You've told me that.
I haven't told you that.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Now, Don, the reason I'm mentioning Peter is that he now is one of the guide. Is that your official? He's a guide at the MCG. He takes international tourists over one of the great stadiums in the world, and I've been on one of his tours.
You said it was shit house.
What?
You said it was so boring.
So rude.
Don, I don't mind you trying to be humorous, but why would I say
Peter,
that?
I would like to apologise.
Oh, well, don't apologise for me. I can do my own apologies.
No,
Thank you.
I know you're trying to be humorous and make me. So of course I haven't said that. You know that very well. And he said, "Why don't you come and look at the Shane Warne hologram? Is it what? 3D hologram.
holograph.
So
Holograph,
this
yeah.
is Peter. Now, Peter, how long have you been? This is Ivan's guest. How long have he's not the interview, incidentally. He's just sitting. He came to see how stupid Don is. Peter, how long have you been guiding people around the MCG?
9 years, Sam, since I retired, and now this is my job. I love volunteering.
And it is a huge industry. There is more people from overseas. That's one of the must-do things when you come to Melbourne. Go over this great stadium. How many people on a daily basis? There's sometimes...
No, we have normally an average of about 600 people.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They haven't got anything else to do.
Well, Don, it's on their bucket list when they come to Melbourne, other than going to the botanical gardens or out to the... I don't know what else you do when you come to Melbourne. What else would you do,
go
Phoebe?
and look at the daffodils up in Sylvan.
No, to Melbourne, I said, not up the country. So you would go to one of the best stadiums in the world, and people are fascinated by it. All the Indians, no, Ivan, the people who play cricket. All the Indians and the Pakistanis. What do you call that? Not the Asians. They're called not Latin Americans. Well, they're called Asians.
Yeah, Latin Americans. Call them Latin Americans. That's close enough.
Anyhow, they come out. They're all fascinated to go over and look at the history of cricket and the Ashes and Shane's exhibition. And what sort of questions do they ask you? Are they attentive? They love it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. I mean, they're so passionate about cricket, every one of them. Unfortunately, you get a lot, the ladies, the partners or the wives going, they're not so cricket much lovers, but they still enjoy doing the tour.
And then you take up and you can see the legends of the game, the heroes. And Don, your photo is up on the wall as a Hall of Famer.
Well, yours must be there as well.
Well, mine's there, of course mine's
Is
there.
it?
Yeah, mine's there. I tell you who's not there.
Barry Cable?
Yeah, they've taken his down. I shouldn't laugh.
He's one of a few that should come down, I reckon.
Well, I don't think people have been as mischievous as Barry have.
Uh-huh.
Well, mischievous is the wrong word. He's been downright disgraceful.
Yes.
So, Phoebe, we'll get on to Barry Cable and the Hall of Fame.
I would like to hear your critique of the Hall of Fame from last night.
Okay, well, so here's the thing.
It's a function that's got to be put on every year, and they've got to find people to make up the cast.
No.
And I'm afraid I think it's lost a lot of value.
So, we get to you know what I'm going to say, we get to the Hall of Fame and we're sitting there and
Who's
suddenly
we?
the crew there. And it goes, and we're sitting there, minding our own business. I'm on the Geelong table, Ian Nankervis.
Oh, how are you?
Dennis Marshall came over from Perth and his daughter Natasha.
Yeah.
A fair piece, Natasha. And Jeff Southby and his wife, and a bloke called Billy Walker.
Billy Walker from Swan Districts.
That's right, Don. Yeah. So we're sitting there chatting, and suddenly, that's
a didgeridoo.
And we turn around, and there's a bloke playing the didgeridoo, and then, as if that wasn't enough, a bloke called now Auntie Joy's got the arse. We had Uncle Bill. Got up.
What did he get, 500 or 1,000?
Well, he must have got
did he
plenty.
Burn any leaves?
Uncle Bill got up and he said that we all had to respect the fallen clans that have suffered the impact of us coming here in the first place. And then he said, we're trying to eradicate racism. Well, you couldn't believe he said that. If you want to try and eradicate racism, stop drawing attention to it. So we're all one people, but no, Billy got up and he said, we're apologising, and he spoke in tongues. Billy Uncle Bill, he got up and he spoke in tongues, and honestly, people clapped very, very just because they thought they had to. People have had enough of this. So then Dickie, what's his name? Dick Gorder, is that his name?
Richard Gorder?
Yeah, Rich. I call him Dick. His friends call him Dick. Dick got up and he droned on in that monotone thing, and then thanked the
What, he's not a good speaker, Richard Gorder?
No, he just droned on. And then
he can't get his act together. Why is Gil McLaughlin still there? I thought he...
Oh, Gil McLaughlin, as if by script. So halfway during they had a photo, they had a bit of a break, and I look over, and Gil's...
Did he say hello to you?
Not
or
at
did
all,
he, no
no.
eye contact?
No.
Coffee? Yeah, that's a good one, Ivan. I was thinking you took the words out of my mouth then. Coffee?
Are you speaking to me?
No, I was just acknowledging Ivan. We were both on the same wavelength.
Oh, I thought... So I look over, and Gil McLaughlin has rounded up... you couldn't believe this. He's rounded up Michael Long, who's a very nice man. I was speaking to Michael. Gavin Wanganeen. He's rounded up 5 of the Indigenous players for a photo opportunity. I thought you couldn't make it up. Didn't have a photo with anyone else. Hey, he got his arm around him and he's chatting to him, and you couldn't make it up. So anyhow, now I said it's a boring night. So if you're going to say that, you've got to say what you would do to make it better. Because it's not the people's fault who are inducted. So Sam Mitchell was inducted. I met his mother, Margot. She came up, and she's a very nice woman, Margot.
So you had a good night. That's the first one. That's the first you've been to.
Well, it is, since I was inducted in 2000.
How long did you speak for your induction?
2002. Well, so Gerard Whateley.
Yeah.
Can take himself a fraction
He's that
seriously.
serious, yeah, you're not wrong.
Holy mackerel. And, well, so he asked the people questions, the inductees. They didn't do that when I was inducted. I just had to speak. And so they went on and on and on. We know they're great players. We know they're fantastic. And Gerard asked just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 questions too many, and it honestly... Your eyes would glaze over. No fault of the players.
There's been some memorable speeches.
Or the inductees. Well, there were no memorable...
Greg Williams went for half an hour.
Well, his namesake, Mark Williams, he got up. He spoke for 4. You couldn't get him off the stage.
There was a guy the year that I went. He accepted the award. I think it was for Bob Hank. I might be wrong, but it was a South Australian who I had never heard of. This fellow received the award for the... He went for half an hour. Yeah. Can you believe people were getting up, leaving the table, going...
This is the point.
And we were congregating in the urinal, having a chat while this bloke was going on for half an hour.
Well, this is the point, Don. So, as I say, it's not the fault of the people. Mark Williams spoke for so long that people had nodded off.
Did he thank everybody?
He thanked everyone, and he said, we've got to vote for The Voice.
Oh,
and,
really?
And I tell you...
Is it racist calling him Choco?
Oh, Choco. Anyhow, Choco went on and on and on, droned on and on and on. And the point of it is that how about they, like the Emmys or the Logie, how about they put a time limit on how long you can speak?
I thought they did.
Well, they didn't. And it was, so there was 7 people yet. After the first one was Sam Mitchell, and they gave highlights of him for 8 minutes, and then he spoke. He's a lovely man, and it's not his fault. He kept, because I was speaking to him, because Gerard kept asking him question after question, and we thought, no, you cannot say or speak any more about how good he is.
Fiona wants to know what you wore too.
I wore a tux.
There you go. Did you get a photo? You sure got a
Don.
photo. A tux.
Oh, that's something else last night.
So...
This is the biggest laptop I've ever seen.
I know, because I've
they
got
should
really bad eyes. I've got
have a
big screen.
time limit. So then they said there were 60 members of the Hall of Fame present. They must have done a count on the...
60
there's
of
all
what,
the Hall of
400?
Famers. Yeah, out of 8,000.
Yeah.
So there were 60. Wouldn't you reckon you would have utilised somehow the names that were there, the 60... some of the
so you wanted to get into it?
Not at all. I
Yes,
didn't. I wouldn't have been part of it.
You went there to get your face.
I wouldn't have done that, Don. But wouldn't you think the people running it would have? It was televised, I think, wasn't it? Someone said
it wasn't.
Fox televised it, didn't
Fox,
they?
yeah.
Someone said, why wouldn't you go round and speak to some of the people who were some of the Hall of Famers? Either speak to them at the table or get them up on stage just as a walk past so people could see them up on the big screen. They didn't utilise any of it. They droned on and on and on. It was extraordinary. And As I say, if you're going to run a show, at least make it captivating for the people there.
Sam,
Seriously.
I have the way to solve your frustrations. Just stay home. Don't go to these things. You're putting yourself in situations where you get riled up.
Well, hang on, Phoebe. I hadn't been for 21 years. This is the first one I'd been to. And I thought, well, instead of sitting home, I'll go and see how
Gil was.
Gil, thank God, didn't speak. But no, he had the photo opportunity with the Indigenous lads. That was,
So how did the boy
rushed up to have that
How
done.
did the boy perform at the Venuto Club the other day, Fiona?
Give us a bit of a rundown on the Venuto Club. Phoebe, or do you want me to do it? I'll start off.
You start.
So, Rex.
I had a very nice night.
Did you really?
I got there late because
Must have
I went.
had
No, I got there late because I went to the theatre beforehand. I went and saw Midnight, which is a new Australian theatre production based on the Cinderella story, which was
What's Cinderella?
yes, which was lovely. And I know it sounds a bit boring, but I took my little niece along, who's
Oh, no,
11, and
that's
she
fair
thought it
enough
was
if you
fabulous.
took
So
your
it was
niece.
it was a lovely night
Is she
for
the light of your
family.
life? All
Shut
you
up.
do is
No,
talk
it's,
about
no,
your niece.
it's a great. It is a lovely opportunity for her to see a show like that. So I went to that beforehand, then got in the car and went out to meet you, Sam.
At what stage did you get there?
I got there at quarter to 9.
What was the first thing you heard when you got there?
Oh no, I caught up with you and Rex out the.
Car
You'd been on stage and you were sitting out the back, and I went out the back and caught up with the two of you. And I think at that point,
Had Rex been on?
Rex had had his tyres let down, hadn't he?
No. Oh my goodness!
He
Not
had
at that
his
point.
tyres.
No, we'll get on to
He
that.
upset someone.
No,
If you were a reporter, you would have had all this in the paper.
No,
Here am I
she-
releasing something on...
No, Phoebe. In fairness to Phoebe, her integrity and her, she could have written the best article ever. But she said, well, yeah, I'm giving you credit,
Don't-
Phoebe.
Geez, she'll...
Phoebe, you could have won a Pulitzer.
Wakely.
You could have won a Wakely or whatever it's called. But she elected not to give a... Shut up, Phoebe.
He's performing down at the Rosebud Hotel, 19th of July.
So
You're
Rex
going down
gets,
to that, Phoebe.
So I go out there, we're
it's
waiting...
on what do you call that? Social
Don,
media
shut up,
now.
will you? We're waiting to start the function. And
What
out of the Venuto
Oh,
Club.
okay.
And Rex had been on the phone, I reckon 8 times asking directions how to get there. At the Venuto Club. Can you believe it?
He'd been at a funeral beforehand, so he had gone quite out of his way to get there. So he did get himself a bit waylaid.
What do you mean he
didn't
got lost?
He got a bit waylaid.
Well, he had a flat tyre.
Have a listen to Phoebe. Go on. What you say? He'd been to a funeral and he couldn't find where the Venuto Club was.
He was late getting there. I'm giving him margin for error there because he was late
listening
getting
to the
there.
phone calls of people. Yes, Rex, you turn left at Bulleen Road and you go. Yes, that's right. He would anyhow.
He's looking for a dam. He's looking for a property on the
Shut
peninsula.
up, Don.
A bigger dam to put his fish in so he can go fishing.
So Don, so he didn't turn up for a while. So I go out and start to warm the crowd up.
They said you were very good.
So I start to do my little bit, and he arrives, and he had Phoebe. He had a red knitted wig on.
Oh my God!
What?
He had a red knitted wig on because that's what apparently the concreters wore, the Italian concreters when they came in.
So it was full of Italians.
Yeah, of course, it was the Venuto Club.
Well, I don't know. They
No,
could have
there was
assimilated
8
into our
million
society.
there were 8 million inaugural members on the board. And so he comes on and he walks on the stage and he had, what do you have with him?
His dog.
He had
What?
He had a dog.
Oh, you're...
And a
And
dog.
you hate dogs, so that
I don't
went down a
hate
real
dogs.
treat.
He likes cats. Did he wear his tights? You know those tights you wear,
No,
these women,
he
and a
came
pair
on.
of shorts. He usually got
Anyhow,
shorts. He looks like a spider.
Unlike the Hall of Fame, I tell you what, people would have had the most extraordinary night they've ever had because Rex, I did my stuff and I do what I
So it was
know.
value for money.
Oh, value for money. Rex went from... Phoebe was
Yes.
extraordinary, wasn't it?
Look, it was.
on.
He was
very
certainly freewheeling, I think is the way to
Freewheeling.
describe it. And I thought you did a very good job. He may have gone on a bit too long, but
Oh, no, people couldn't get enough of him. They sat there
You're
gobsmacked.
taking him down to Rosebud.
Gobsmacked they were. So
Take him down to
So
Rosebud.
unbeknownst to me, he had some films lined up. I'm not knocking. It sounds
no,
like
it's his
I'm.
he had his fishing films.
Sounds like
yes.
I'm knocking him. I'm not.
Fishing
because
films?
if people weren't entertained by that night, they never will be. So he suddenly he said to Bob Grieve, is it?
Yes.
He
Yeah,
said,
Bob.
Bob, roll the vision. And I thought, roll what fucking vision? So all these screens came down, and there's Rex from
What,
20
fly
years,
fishing?
20 years ago saying, welcome everyone around the world, this is Rex Hunt, and he's catching fish, and then suddenly it went to him playing football for Richmond.
Centre half back?
Didn't it, Phoebe?
Yes, it did.
And I'm on the mic, I said,
I just didn't know what.
Rex,
I didn't know where we were.
What are we going to the
response.
football for? He said, well, he said, well, I was knocked out and I had my jaw broken. And I said, yep. And then the fishing came on again. And I said, and he's just sitting there looking at it. I said, well, speak to the vision, Rex. What is that fish? He said, that's a yellow-bellied parrotfish. And I said, yeah, why are you showing it? Yeah, well, so anyhow, and then it went back to the football again,
Laurel
didn't
and Hardy.
it was so. No, I tell you, if people weren't entertained by that, people will talk
Was
about
there a
that
standing
forever.
ovation at the end, Fiona?
Outstanding ovation.
It certainly, yeah, absolutely.
What, they all got up and clapped as one?
Well, I mean, it was it's a very rare occasion these days to see Rex on stage. And it's been a long time since he's done anything like that. And he probably did need a little bit more producing than what he had. But
So Phoebe.
So we could see him at
So
Crown
I'll tell you where
or
it turned to shit.
the Athenaeum.
I'll tell you where it turned to shit. Apparently, the day before, Rex had got a flat tyre, and some blokes in the pouring
I
rain
heard
stopped
this.
to help change his tyre. And he said, or John Locko said, why don't you come along to the Venuto Club in your tradie gear?
Rex said this.
Yes, and we'll put you on stage,
Yes.
and we'll thank you for being benefactors or for being really good citizens for helping a bloke
An old
change his
bloke
tyre.
out.
So anyhow, we're going on, and the bike. I didn't know this while it was happening, but anyhow, it went on, and this bloke in the end thought he wasn't going to get a mention because he stood up and he said something like, Phoebe, he said, yeah, he said, well, g'day, Rex, or something, and Rex gave him very short shrift. The bloke got the shits nicely. So I'm minding my own business, talking on stage.
Was he in his, didn't he say come dressed as tradesman?
He came in his
Did the bloke
tradies-
come dressed as a
He came in
tradie?
his tradies gear because we said, Rex said we'll get him up on stage and have a chat to him. I said, well, that'd be good. So I'm standing there. This is after he got nowhere with Rex. And I'm standing doing my little stuff, and I see this bloke in tradies gear in the corner of the stage, and he said, excuse me, I have to say this, Peter. He said, you're a fuckhead. To me.
who? You?
To me. And I said, I said, what? I said, what? I said, why am I a fuckhead? And then by that time, the security had dragged him off the... and I said, how can I... I'm standing here, how can I be called a fuckhead?
Is there going to be another
I said,
show this
plenty
week?
of people have called me that, but why tonight? And then they said, oh, this is the bloke that we were going to interview. I said, well, I wasn't going to interview him. If I'd known he was there, I would have interviewed him. So anyhow, he got the bracing bits nicely, and he went down and he
Let down the tyres of a
played
car.
merry
didn't
hell
he?
with a big stick. He let Rex's tyres down, and the police came, and the blokes were ranting and raving, and I thought, shit, how this is extraordinary. And it was Phoebe could have won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Pulitzer Prize, isn't it?
Whatever it's
Pulitzer
called.
Prize?
Pulitzer. Pulitzer, stupid. And so anyhow, they were the two diverse nights I've had. The Hall of Fame, which was so different.
What about the road? You're going to take him down to Rosebud?
I'm not
To the pub at Rosebud.
I'm
You'll
not
kill them. They'll line up to come. I mean, it's $300 a photo with you, $160 a ticket. With Rex, I reckon you could increase those prices.
Oh, man. I'm not sure if Rex is
You
going
and
to do a
Rex.
lot more. But anyhow, John Locko's coming in later. John's his minder. He's isn't he, Phoebe?
He's very, very good friend.
So, Phoebe,
Yes.
you were a bit shell-shocked by the night because I rang you when I got home at 11:30. You were still there
I was still
having
there.
just a stiff brandy trying to gather yourself. I said, where are you? She said, I'm still here with Bob Grieve. We're just trying to simmer down after the night.
We were having, you know what, let me just be honest about that. We were sitting there having a lemon squash. If you want to know how hard the liquor was, it was a lemon squash. And Bob and I were talking about TV because he's a fantastic producer. But we were certainly taking a deep breath and going, wow, that was interesting. Look, Sam, I couldn't think of a better way to spend a Sunday night than with you and Rex.
Do you think it's got legs, Fiona, this show?
If Rex
No.
could, if
The Rex and
if
Johnny
Rex
show?
if Rex could reproduce that form, and
He will.
mate, we go around the world. That'd be the best reality show you've ever seen. It was extraordinary.
He wanted to come and live in my trailer for a week or so. He rang me the other day.
He might come in today with
He's
Locko.
looking for land down on the peninsula with a dam so he can dig it, make it bigger, put fish in and go fishing. I mean, what do you, don't look at me like that. I'm just relaying a telephone conversation.
No, he does still love fishing, and I think if he was able to do some fishing, it would be really healthy for him.
So he had the fish.
Healthy?
Yes.
How can
So he
fishing
had
be
he
healthy?
had the fish up on, and he was showing the fish all from his, and there was this huge fish that he caught, and he just was watching it. And I said, Rex, what? I said, speak about what you're doing. What is sort of fish is this? He was just mesmerised by his own
Image?
just what he had been doing.
Has he been ringing anyone else lately?
Has he been? I reckon he got the yellow pages out.
Well, I mean, I
You
hear
get a
from
phone
him
call,
quite
Fiona.
often.
How
Yes.
many times did he ring you that night?
You know how many times he called.
How many?
Quite a few. He just has different things that he likes to talk
I
about.
know, and I've spoken to him
Yes.
quite a bit.
And,
he
and,
might come in.
and I'm very
I'll tell
happy.
you-
I'm very happy to take his calls. It's always
I'm happy.
What, at all hours of the night?
No,
Yes.
no, he had to put at 1 o'clock in the morning. He decided I'm turning this
Wait
phone
till he
off.
rocks
You know,
up and
look-
drives across your lawn.
Well-
and then MAGA Panthers as well.
Well-
And that black four bloody thing, who the hell is
Well, the
this?
good thing is because I live in an inner suburb, I don't have enough lawn for him to
Drive
do
his
wheelies on,
bloody
and no
black-
Aga Panthers.
And I tell you what,
he'd have to hit a palm tree.
Big to do was after the show. Is that after he couldn't drive? If he was here, I'd be having this conversation with him. So I'm not talking behind his back. Well, I am because he's not here. But after the bloke let his tyres down, all hell broke loose because the only thing he was worried about was who was going to look after the dog.
That's correct, yes.
So I had to be driven home by John Locko with a dog on my lap, a dog on my lap. Rex drove off to, I don't know where he went.
No,
He drove off
you
with the
did
flat
not.
tire.
No, did you have a dog in your car?
Absolutely.
Because he had a dog in his car.
Oh, yeah, there was dogs
many
everywhere. It was
dogs were
Dog
there?
City. I don't know. Everyone bought their dog. And when he came on stage with the dog, I thought, fucking hell, what is this?
So is this going to be a regular thing at the Venuto Club?
If Rex can get himself
do a
up,
season.
I tell you what, if they advertised, I said, Rex, if you're ever going to do this again, I should be with you. And then he said, oh, I was muscling in on him, and I wanted to get in on the act. I said, Rex, I don't. If you do it on your own, that's fine, but I think you should have me just to keep you on track. So I said, if he can get himself on track, the next time they advertise Rex Hunt, there will be 1,000 people come. They will. They will, because he was very interesting about the fishing and all the people he'd met, and then he went on to the football, and then he went on to his family, and then he went on to his ex-manager, and then he went on to people he didn't like, and then he went on to
Well, that'd
television,
be a lot.
and then he went on to the football, and then he went, and it was like a pinball machine. We went from subject to subject, and it was very, very entertaining. Entertaining. It was. So that's my two.
No Africans turned up.
Well, I can't say that, could I? No, he said,
Well,
Can I
he's
say
got,
what
a
he
problem.
said?
He's got a problem.
I
there.
can't say that, can I? When he was driving home, he said he
does
rang me.
get it.
He rang me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. He said, I'm on the side of the freeway. He said, and I'm being chased by. I can't say it.
No.
Why not? Sudanese.
Look,
I can't.
no,
it
don't,
won't
Don,
suit me.
don't.
Not years of African appearance. No.
He was just a bit. He was just a bit
Why
upset,
did
wasn't
you
he?
let him drive home by himself?
Well, we couldn't stop him.
We couldn't
what,
stop
do,
him.
what do you mean?
He
took off.
was. People said we'll drive you home, and he said no.
Flat tyres.
He drove home with a flat tire.
He had to go to a service station to get his tyres.
He's
pumped up.
always
He-
going to service
and,
stations.
Well, he did in this case because he had a flat tyre.
He
Anyhow,
always gets accosted at service stations. There's
it
one
was
down
a
at
very,
Turin, there's
very
one on the
good-
way to Lara.
If people didn't come away from the Venuto club, whatever it's called, if they didn't come and saying that is the best night we've ever had for whatever reason, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who wasn't absolutely astonished by that night. And that's the idea of a night, isn't it, Ivan? Is to
To have fun.
well, to be entertained. I was entertained.
But they were laughing at, weren't they? They weren't laughing with.
I don't know about that.
I don't know that was
What?
no, they weren't laughing at him. He wasn't. It wasn't.
They were laughing with him.
Yeah, people weren't making a fool of him. It was. That's not what.
No,
was
no,
happening.
people didn't make
I
a fool
think
of
John-
him. He did that himself. And I did that to myself. I do. I make a fool of myself when I do it, and Rex beat me in spades. So it was excellent. So
Let me know when you're performing next.
Ah, gee. So anyhow, so that's a sort of a topic. How long have we been going? Peter, we try not to go any more than say 45 minutes.
How long have we gone this morning?
We've gone half an hour.
That'll do.
Because we think people haven't got an attention span any longer than 45
Well, that's
minutes.
who we appeal to.
So what we'll do now is we'll just get this out of the way.
What about a shout out?
I'm just saying we'll get those out of the way because Phoebe's in here probably thinking Dr. Fordham was coming in, but the doc's on furlough.
Oh
He's gone.
no! Why am I here?
He's gone overseas with Jody and the
Jody.
nippers, the little nippers.
He's got a problem with one of his nippers. Wagging day school or kindergarten.
Wagging it.
Yes, truancy.
Yeah, has he?
I wanted to ask him.
Oh, what
but
he's wagging kindergarten?
Yes.
Oh, it's hardly truancy. Don, that's
Well,
hardly-
he rocks up. They drop him off at the door, but it's not registered.
I see. How do you know this? He told you that.
I
did
know
he?
things.
Oh,
well,
good.
that's why we do this show. Little snippets of
he
things.
might log into us overseas, like a lot of our listeners do. I said to someone said, how do I get on to Ian Nankervis? He said, how do I listen to your podcast? I said, well, just go onto your normal provider. He said, can you hear it up in Queensland? I said,
What?
can you hear it? I said, they hear it around the world, mate. They log in. We have more people around the world listening than we do in Australia. He said,
How is Anne? He's a terrific.
He
I
is
like Anne Bruce. I reckon they're terrific.
Ian's a fantastic
Yeah.
guy, and he was there with his wife Glenys.
They're friends with
It doesn't matter who they're
Peter
friends
Grant.
Yeah.
Well, he meets Peter Grant.
Oh, good.
who
I
was
know
the
he's a
Richmond
very good
physio-
man. And
on the beach at Noosa.
Why did I mention that? Because I'll tell you why I mentioned that. Because michaelchristianmenswear.com, I met two people at the Venuto Club, two women who had You Cannot Be Serious caps.
What, the Chinese writing or the ones we
not
signed?
the Chinese writing. They'd got them from michaelchristianmenswear.com. And michaelchristianmenswear.com says the hats are in such big demand that they can't keep up with them.
Really?
And I want to tell you this, Don.
I hope he's paying those workers,
They're
those
29,
Chinese workers.
well, how much are they? 30,
they're a
29.95. Well, let me show you something in a minute. I went on I hate to say this is the biggest wank of all time, but I went on a Lamborghini drive day up to a Levantine Hill winery.
Where?
Levantine Hill up in the Yarra Valley.
Yes, which is a beautiful winery.
It's a fantastic winery. The only reason I mention this, that the Lamborghini Drive Day was selling the baseball caps. I'll show you a picture in case you're thinking I'm
What?
making it up.
You Can't Be Serious caps?
No, they're with Lamborghini written on it. They were selling them for $90.
Yeah,
no,
but hang on, it's a status symbol, the Lamborghini logo on your hat.
what?
Yeah, that's a status symbol.
What Lamborghini? What
Oh.
about you cannot be serious
Oh,
is a
geez,
bigger
that's
status symbol than the...
Bullshit, you'd be embarrassed. It reminds me of Donald Trump, that hat.
Well, they're $90.
90 for that.
That's what I'm saying. Ours are cheap.
Jeez.
Our signature hats with your signature and mine on it are $75.
Could I just give a shout out to someone, please?
Please.
Because I've had
Good on
a
you,
lovely
Phoebe.
fellow by the name of Jack contact me. He wanted to pass on a photograph of himself and 3 of his mates who were playing golf down at the Box Hill Golf Club Ambrose event. Is that correct? An Ambrose
Yes,
event?
Ambrose.
And so Jack, Russell, Ray and Mario. Jack,
Is he a
Russell,
dog?
Ray and Mario, they were all wearing You Can't Be Serious hats. They've taken a photograph of themselves and they've sent it in to you.
Well
so it's on my
done,
computer
Phoebe.
and I'll give it to you after we get off here.
We'll put them up on your board, Jack
I used to
Russell.
play at Box Hill when I was a young boy. It's a shocking course, in amongst the factories.
Yeah, well, some people can't afford to play at Royal Melbourne, Don. They're playing at Box Hill. I play with Peter sometimes on Monday out at, this is where I went to the brothel.
What, the pensioners' golf
Oh,
course down
I
here?
heard about this at Westgate.
Yeah, I went to the...
Did you?
you
So were
been
you
there?
in Thomas Street? You must have gone down Thomas Street.
I Googled the map and it said, turn right here, you've arrived. And I go in, I've told you this story, and I walk in and I said, there's 4 of us. The woman's eyes lit up. I said, how much is it? She said, $75. I said, what? Is that 9 holes? I said,
9 holes?
I said, is that 18? Is that for 18? She said, yeah, they're 18. I said, what do you mean they're 18? She said, they're over 18. I said, where am I? She said, you're at the foyer of the brothel. I said, the golf club office is over the other side of the freeway.
So were you going down the road near Office Works? Did you drive past
Yes.
Office? Yes, I know where you are. I had a friend who lived in that
So
street.
you've been there, Fiona?
I haven't been to this
You,
particular
how do
establishment.
you
No, I
know?
have not. No, my friend used to live in that street, a
and
couple of doors up.
And when I finally got,
it
I've
was a
said
very
this before,
busy
when I
road.
finally got to the office of the golf club, I said, I've just been over to the brothel. He said, Google Maps sends you over to the car park of the brothel because they think that's where the golf club is. He said, you're not the only one that's made the mistake. I said, because the woman said, haven't you been? She said, have I seen you before? I said, no, I've never played here
You
before.
have.
I said, I've never played here before.
Oh, I see.
And she said, oh, your face looks familiar. And then I worked out it was a brothel. And I thought, gee, I hope she doesn't think I've been here. It wouldn't matter if I'd been there before, but I hadn't. So we're giving a shout out, Peter, to who are we giving a shout out to?
Now,
So
can
that
I
was
give
to
one
Jack, and that was to Jack.
Oh,
You're giving
Jack,
a shout out to,
good on
and as
him.
I said, thank you, Jack, for sending in this picture. I have clearly now forwarded it on to Sam as requested.
Well done, Jack. Now, Chris Piccione, Picone. How would you pronounce that, Peter?
yeah, Piccione.
Piccione?
Piccione.
You wouldn't call him Picone. Anyhow, Michael Christian and Metswear.com up your bum. Chris Piccione.
Was he
he's-
at the Venuto Club?
No, he's from Alphington.
Well, that's close to the Venuto Club.
Well, he's not from. This is
Well, he's
just
Italian.
a separate thing. He wants a shout out. It's his 70th birthday today, and him and Christine is his wife, and he's a real Bombers fan who are thinking of changing the livery. Did you know Essendon Football Club? They're actually seriously discussing not having a bomber, a picture of a warplane on
Is
there.
that true? Yeah. It is? Or are they just looking to perhaps, modernise, keep the plane but just modernise the logo?
Or not have a plane?
Have
Have a tiger? Have a what? A glider?
a glider.
Seriously, if you're called the Bombers,
I think they were called the Gliders, weren't they? At one stage,
were they?
Essendon?
I'll tell you what they were called, but we're not allowed to mention it.
What?
Absolutely not allowed to
Oh,
mention it.
yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Bloodstain.
Yeah, that's right, the
Yeah.
bloodstain.
Yeah, righto. Okay, that's it.
That's right, don't worry. There's some things
I know.
we will not say.
I know.
With the Bombers. So he's having his 70th birthday, Chris Piccione, and his missus, Christine. 70. Do you reckon she'll get any action tonight or not?
Oh, excuse me.
Well, action, take her out
Excuse
to
me.
dinner or
no, your innuendo was a little different.
action is, that's your mind. Don.
No.
At 70, do you reckon he will give Christine a night out on the town? Do you or not?
Well, Matthew's 14 and he'd be riveted to this conversation. Now, Matthew, I met him at the Hastings Produce a couple of months ago and...
Speak into the microphone, Don.
well, it's right in front of my mouth.
You trailed off on the cadence bars here.
Anyway, Matthew, a shout out to you at Hastings Produce.
Got any shout-outs, Peter? We could say hello to Dally. Dally
How is
Messenger-
Dally?
I'll tell you, you nearly killed him.
I know.
He came in here to chat about 50 years of celibacy, not
Celibacy.
celebrancy, not
Celibacy.
celibacy, not celibacy. It's very easy to mix those two words up, Peter. And he came in here and sat exactly where Ivan is, and Don nearly killed him, gave him COVID. So he's all right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's recovered, Sam. He's bounced back. Yeah, very good.
Did you come in here with COVID?
Yeah.
Don.
Yeah,
I understand you. Maybe
that's right. Don, so I go out to a function. I'm out speaking at a function. Don says, I'm up at Ballarat.
Well, I did the thing when I tested positive.
I'm
I
up-
rang everybody that was...
Oh, okay, so you didn't
so it was
know-
only two...
you didn't know you had...
No, and I
So
rang
I'm-
the two people I'd been in contact with.
Yeah, so I'm up at Ballarat about to speak at a function. Don says, I got some bad news. I said, oh, yeah, what? He said, I got COVID, so you better not go out and be in anyone's company. I said, I better not be in anyone's company. I'm about to speak to fucking 500...
Yeah, but you would go and add a little bit more. I'm not going to tell anybody. I said, shit, you'll infect people. I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's your words. I'm not telling anyone I've got COVID.
I didn't say I
You're,
don't. I didn't say I don't care.
You don't care for anyone.
I said I didn't say I don't care affecting people. I said I don't care if you've got COVID and come in here. It doesn't worry me.
You said I'm not telling it. I said I've got to ring poor Dally. And
Well, hang on.
I'm not going to tell him.
So if I've got to the function and I said, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, got to get in the car and go home now because I've
that'd be
been
the
in the company
responsible
of
thing
someone
to-
who's got COVID. How would that go over?
Well, that's a responsible. They would have thought you're a very responsible citizen.
Well, you should have told
You
us
could
you
have
had
killed a
COVID
few
when you
people
came
up
in
there.
here. Poor old Dally spent the next 2 weeks in intensive care.
Is he all right?
He's all right now.
He's 85.
He's all right, but
He's
he's
80.
passed it on to his
What?
partner.
He's passed it on to his
Rami.
wife. His name is, who her name is? Remy.
Rami.
Ramy. She was on voice. She was on the stage herself back
Doing
in
what?
America. She was a vaudevillian.
Really?
She's an actor, wasn't she?
She was, yeah.
Dancer or an actor?
Actress.
No, actor.
Actress.
Yeah, actor.
Actor.
Oh,
So anyhow, they're the shout-outs. We're going to wind this up shortly. But one more thing. We'll get on to Kate Save. Now, Kate Save, she has got, she said EOFY. What's EOFY?
End of financial year.
Well done, Phoebe.
God,
Took me half an hour to work out what
Jeez, I wouldn't have
that
known
meant.
that.
End of financial year sale
Sale?
on the food. Now listen to this,
How much
Don.
are the discounts this time?
I just said, listen to this, Don. And you said, how much are the discounts? That's what I was going to say. 30% off until
Bullshit.
What?
Is that right? 30% off?
No, I made that up, Don. No.
Why?
30% off.
She won't make money.
Hang on, there's more.
What?
There's steak knives coming yet.
Bullshit.
30% off. This is until the 2nd of July. And if you give the code name SAS,
Yeah,
smart as Sam,
yeah.
sorry, you get an extra 5%. 35.
They've got to fill up that fridge at Chemist Warehouse in Mornington Tyab Road too.
30
Some of the lines are out.
35% off. And I believe, I'm not sure if I should say this, is she into starting the crowdfunding?
Yeah, she's doing crowdfunding.
Well, we will be. That's investing in her company.
In a
isn't it?
business.
Well, we're going to invest in it because we put our money where our mouth is.
Anyway,
So we
they
will
should
be
stock that
investing
fridge. They've got to
in
get that fridge up to date
crowdfunding
at Mornington Tyab Road Chemist Warehouse. It's up near the counter
Sorry.
there, and I went there the other day, and there's one line I was looking for that's short. So, Kate, you right?
Yep. Okay, I was wondering if we were recording. I just saw a button that was down.
We've gone for 45 minutes.
No,
Can
we're
I
going
have a-
now. So we're coming back. Thank you, Peter. Peter's provided water there. We're coming back, and we're going to mention what the new name for pedophiles is in America. You won't believe it, pedophiles. They've rebranded the title of, if you're a pedophile, they're trying to soften it down in America. How's that country
Soften
going?
it?
Soften it. Do you know what they're calling pedophiles in America now? The scum activists. They're calling it minor attracted people.
Oh, no.
MINOR, attracted people. So they're attracted to minors. So that's the soft way of calling them pedophiles. Because there's too many of them, they don't want to offend anyone. Can you believe it? How's that country going, do you reckon? Don't answer that. So we're coming back, and we've got plenty of things to talk about, and we've got
Have we got a guest today?
John Van Wisser.
Oh, again.
Again, we haven't had him.
Yes, we had John before.
We haven't had John before.
We
you dumbass.
have.
You ass
We
hat.
asked about his sister Tammy.
You asked, he came in here one day, you asked him off microphone.
I did not. He
during-
sat over there.
He did sit there, but he wasn't on, we didn't record him. We were speaking to him off when we're having a break, which we're going to have now. So here we go. This is Daddy Cool here, Peter. I think if I've pressed this correctly.